The following is a presentation of Zagnif Productions, LLC.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey gang, how's everybody doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? Those of you in the cheap seats and those of you that bought your tickets early with the credit cards, appreciate you being here today. Welcome to another episode of This Week in UGA Football. I am one half of the crew coming to you live all the way from the 405 in the heart of Oklahoma City, where the wind comes whipping down the plane. It's your boy, Mr. Fingers, coming to you from Zagnif Central. And that guy right there, that guy, he is the brother from another, the sexy mother Hubbard, the ace of base of the place, in your face. Kylan P. from the DMV. How you doing, my guy?
Oh, man, I'm doing great, A little bit of nervous weekend, but, come out with that W, I'm feeling just fine. How about yourself, man?
Oh, man, look, I'm going to tell you what. We got a little bit of a late start because I got home from work and the missus came in here and brought steak, tips, and hash browns. Hey, Nick and Tina, LSU was leading. Ole Miss had the ball.
Yep.
And I looked about 15 minutes later, and it was a whole different ball game. As a matter of fact, I think Ole Miss was down by not one but two scores.
Yeah. And Lane Train was a chugga-lugging.
I'll tell you what. I can tell you what. You can talk about your family all you want to, but it is very difficult to beat any team when you let them drop 21 points on you in the last quarter. That's exactly what Ole Miss did to LSU. Emerges victorious. Ole Miss number 20, now 4-1 and 1-1 record in the SEC, 55-49 over Brian Kelly. And of course, Brian Kelly had this to say after the game.
Opportunities there in that first half, but you're only down by 4. What was your message?
We can't play any worse than that, I don't think. I mean, it's my first game. Maybe we can.
Hey, look, you know, I was gonna break that one out. I had to. My family, he will never live that down. Let's move a little further down the timeline here. A little earlier in the day, the Razorbacks of Arkansas, now 0-2 in conference play, fell to Texas A&M 34-22 in a game at home. A&M Johnson, 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pickle. The only category in the only stat category that Arkansas led in was receiving yards. Armstrong with 78 yards and a touchdown. What can I say? Texas A&M is looking fairly decent this year. They win by a respectable 2 scores, and they're 4-1 in the West. Now, I don't want to say this sounds familiar, like we've seen this before, because we have seen this before, but they're looking respectable so far. So yeah. Texas A&M over Arkansas. Vanderbilt, Clark Lee, these guys. You know what? I'm gonna say this again. I root for Vanderbilt every week, and they're in the East. I root for Vanderbilt every week.
Oh, yeah.
And Vanderbilt falls short, losing to 17 to the Red Hot Tigers of Missouri. Luther Burden with 140 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. What in the wild, wild west? Where is that sound coming from?
I don't know. Is that me? It's not me, is it?
Oh my God, we got
You
an
there?
ad.
You freezing?
I got an ad. Yeah, can you hear me?
All right, hang on. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we had an ad on this page start playing out of nowhere. I didn't even know it had any ads. There we go. All right, let's see. Let's see. Where were we before we got summarily cut off? Luther Burden with 190 for Luther Burden with 140 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns on 11 receptions.
So I got a
Very
question.
impressive.
I got a question on this. So as far as like Missouri, being hot or whatever, then Vanderbilt, hanging 21 on them. I mean, is that bad? Is a bad look for Missouri, or or is that just Missouri?
I can't say. Thank you, OG. Appreciate that. But when that ad started playing on that page, it's kind of hard to focus on what you're saying when you got a Geico ad playing in your ear. So, is that a bad look for Missouri? I don't know. I mean, dude, they still won by 17 points.
Yeah,
they still won by 17. They still won by 17 points. And the breakdown of it is Vanderbilt got that first touchdown in the first quarter. Now they did have a 14-point fourth quarter, but the damage was already done at that point. And you think about it, Missouri probably had pulled their starters, and you know how that goes. That's a trick right out of the Kirby Smart book. You pull your starters and let your starters get a little bit, But Missouri emerges victorious. They are now 5-0 in the conference. And and the OG says, Vanderbilt is not a bad team. Vanderbilt is not a bad team at all. They just, it's it's like that song from Hee Haw. If it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all.
I mean,
just
right. You didn't step in and fall on you. I mean, that's kind of like me.
Oh man, keeping it moving. Yeah, you're not lying, OG. Right here, he nailed on the head. Match made in heaven, right there. Right there. Yeah. That's like Brady and Gronk. That combo right there. That you put that with Brady and Gronk. You could put that with Montana and Rice. You could put that with Aikman and Mike Irvin. It's right there.
Mike Irvin.
Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't remember his name. I just remember he talks a lot. He always licks his lips. He kind of sounds a little bit like Tracy Morgan when he gets going. It's like, so you was just going to stand there and hold the football. You wasn't going to throw it to me? Uh-oh. I think I feel another bad impersonation coming on. I'm going to keep this thing moving. Kentucky beats Florida. Kentucky not only beats Florida, Kentucky makes Florida look like they're not even in existence with a 33-14 drubbing at Heinz Field. And that's who we playing next week. That is who we are playing next week. Oh my goodness. I haven't seen face.
And there's a lot to talk about that.
I haven't seen that face in a while. Hello, Rita. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for stopping by. We'll see what we can do about getting the audio fixed. Other than that, I hope the rest of you can hear us quite clearly. Appreciate you for stopping by this weekend at UGA football. Mr. Fingers here in Oklahoma City. Colin P. right there in the DMV. Colin P. from the DMV. Tennessee, South Carolina. Milton threw for over 200 yards, but he did throw a couple picks. Kentucky is also undefeated. We did say that. I said that. I beat you to it. And that's who we're playing next week. Georgia takes on Kentucky next week in a homestand at Sanford Stadium. And we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. Let's see here. Tennessee playing South Carolina. We talked about that already. Right, with 123 yards rushing and a touchdown. White. Right and White. Okay. White with 104 yards receiving. I mean, it's South Carolina. Did I watch the Tennessee game? I personally did not. Did you watch the game, Colin?
I watched a little bit. I was flipping back and forth. So, yeah, I watched a little bit of it. It looked like Tennessee was running fairly well, but you can see that. 123
I take
yards,
you know what?
White with it.
I take that back. I did watch some of the Tennessee game. I think Milton has a cannon for an arm. I just watching Milton play what I've seen of him this season. What I've seen of Milton this season. Milton is a kid who was born with an extreme talent. I mean, you got a lot of guys that can sling it around, but I mean, a guy like you don't get a lot of guys that have cannons. Like, remember Mike Vick throwing the ball 70 yards flat foot?
Yeah.
This kid is supposedly throwing. I haven't seen the video, but supposedly could throw the ball 70 yards down the field from his knees, which is impressive. I think this is a kid that's born with a natural talent. I think he really needs somebody to kind of. Heupel just essentially said we need. Heupel said we need that kid, and I think he relies on that a little too much, or too much, like the natural talent. Like, instead of okay, boom, 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 going here. Sometimes he forces a ball. I've seen him force the ball sometimes where it doesn't need to go. Make some bad throws. But that's just my 2 cents. That's just my 2 cents.
It wouldn't hurt to have more weapons as well. Have his supporting cast around him. And kind of the what do you want to call it? Confidence. Having the confidence that that where he throws it, the receiver's going to pull it down. You know what I mean? And that way he won't have to force those kinds of throws. You know what I mean? But
yes, 100%. 100%. We did talk about LSU at Ole Miss, and this is the one that I wanted to talk about more than any other. There is a coach that is revered, that is either exceptionally revered or hated across the board in the SEC, depending on which way you look at it, which way you lean, whether you're being objective or whether you're being objective or whether you're a fan of the team. But all heads agree that this coach is possibly the greatest coach to coach college football in the modern era. And his team have had a few struggles as of late, which has led to the question: have they lost the fire? Is the era over? Will they be able to bounce back, especially after this season with an early loss early in the season? Well, folks, if you weren't watching that game where Alabama traveled to Mississippi State, ooh, we got to see some of the old Nick Saban on Saturday night. We haven't seen Nick Saban lose his mind on the sidelines in a long time. And Nick Saban lost his mind a couple of times. Every time I looked at the TV, Nick was foaming at the mouth and carrying on. His hair kept coming out of place. Get back coach kept running up with a can of gel, the Brill cream, so he could smooth it back into place. And Alabama dropped 40 on Mississippi State at home, even with those loud behind cowbells. Milroe was still Milroe, 168 yards with no TDs passing, had a rushing touchdown of 89 yards on the ground. But Alabama shut it down. That was a fire that I have not seen in a long time.
Yeah,
when I saw Nick Saban, go ahead.
No, I was saying, like, the first half. I mean, you put 14 in the first quarter, 17 in the third, and only 3 and 6, respectively, in the third and fourth quarter. You know what I mean? I mean, they scored most of their points on the first half, I guess. And I can't remember when Saban got heated, but I love watching him get heated because he never really, if you watch, he never really looks at the player, the coach he's talking to. He's just kind of looking at the ground, looking in the vicinity, but not straight at him. And he's just losing his mind. But
completely losing.
That's a fire we haven't seen in quite some time.
When I saw Nick Saban yelling, I knew it was over. Nick Saban was tired of not getting his oatmeal cream pies on Sunday morning from Miss Terry, because I think part of the deal is they have to win by 2 scores, at least 10 points. Nick was like, doggone it, I want my oatmeal cream pie. That might have been what he was on the sideline saying. I might have to see if I can lip read. If I see anything that looked like oatmeal or cream pies, I'm gonna have to. something that lack of sugar is getting to old Saint Nick there. But Alabama completely annihilates Mississippi State 40-17. And it was a 3-score game, and honestly, it wasn't even that close. But Colin, you know what Colin likes to say about Alabama.
Bama does what Bama do.
Or maybe you don't know what Colin likes to say about Alabama. Here's the video.
Bama does what Bama do.
There it is. I'm like, what the hell is going on over here? I know I hit the button like 3 times. Anyway, Alabama now 4-0 and 2-0 in the West. So things are starting to shape up in the West as LSU, even though they're not eliminated from a conference standpoint of view, they've got the 2 losses, more than likely eliminated from playoff contention. This was supposed to be their year. They were supposed to run the table in the West after last season. We'll see. It's week 5. Crazier things have happened. Okay. So let's not write them off just yet. So here's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to take ourselves a brief commercial break, and we will be right back. So stay tuned. Do not go far. We'll be right back with more This Week in UGA football. Okay, that was a little briefer than I thought. Hang on a second, doggone it. What is really going on? We had such a smooth show last week. I guess I should have known it was too good to be true. We are back to the shenanigans again this week. Hold tight. We'll be right back. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Go right now. Run, do not walk to ZagnifApparel.com and get all of your designer gear, personalized, not personalized, but you can get you some pretty fly gear. You can get it right now. And Christmas is right around the corner, and we have some really dope Christmas designs. We're bringing those back from last year, mostly for the ladies, because the ladies are the ones that love the Christmas stuff. But you can get some smooth stuff like this dope shirt right here with the Zagnif Apparel signature logo on it. Established 2021. It's only 2 years old. We're trying to keep this thing going. And oh, by the way, speaking of Zagnif Apparel, if you would be so kind, is to venture your way over, shameless plug, if you would be so kind as to venture your way over to the This Week in the SEC Facebook group. If you would venture over to the This Week in the SEC Facebook group, there is a pinned post. It is called Guess the Score. What we want to know is what you think the score is going to be in this week's game again with Georgia against Kentucky. closest to the score wins a Zagnif apparel. It's way too far over there for me to jump up and go get, but it's a really nice snapback. Matter of fact, you know what? Hang on. I'll go get it. It ain't that far.
Go get it. Go get it.
The headphone cables reach. Here we go.
Talk amongst yourselves. There he is.
While I take another shot. It's a great hip hop song. Actually, here we go, right here. It's a Zagnif apparel snapback. The one in particular comes in all black. It is black with a black brim. Comes with the same signature logo and the date on it. And that reminds me, I have to go figure out our winner from last week's Guess the Score thread from the Auburn game, which is where we're going next. Sean, go ahead and drop your score over on the thing. Well, no, it's not up yet. Yeah, that's right. You know what? I got to check the scores I wrote the scores down from last week. I got to check those too. Anyway, let me see. Is this it right here? I had to check the scores from last week. I'm batting 1,000 right now, aren't I?
Hey, you've been busy.
That wasn't really that funny. Yeah, I have been working a whole lot of hours, my guy. Y'all, I am at the office at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I don't leave until 7 o'clock in the evening. That was Friday, and that was today, and it's gonna be like that tomorrow, and it's gonna be like that. Well, not tomorrow because I got to be home in time to do the roundtable, but it's gonna definitely be like that Wednesday and Thursday, and possibly Friday. So anyway, moving right on along. The Cardiac Kids do it again. Yep. Georgia squeaks by 27-10. 27-10. Oh, you know what? Hold that thought. I got to back up. Whoop, whoop. USC, Colorado, great game. It was a lot more than we expected. All the pundits said that USC was going to blow Colorado out of the water. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, all their thoughts, looked to be true. First half, it looked like USC was on the roll. And then, you know what? I was thoroughly impressed by, the kids coming back the way they did. They had a chance. They had a chance to win. But, that just – it's one of those things, man. If you get too far behind, you can't get to get ahead to win the game. But they props to them for fighting back because they were down. I can't remember how far they were down, but they were down by 2-3 scores. I guess it was 3 scores or something like that. Yeah. But they were down a good bit, but they continued fighting. Hey, you can't ask for anything. Can't ask for much else. There's a lot of fighting the kids. So yeah. You might need to pay attention when Deion said, be glad you got me now. Be glad you got me this time. So, they may be losing or they may have lost the last 2, but you can see the potential and the progress in just a short amount of time. So, props to them. Even though they lost the game. Yep.
100%. And, I did make a short post about it. One of the things that I said was it's very apparent that this past Saturday compared to the previous week against Oregon, it seems as though they focused more on getting prepared for the game than they did about feeding into the hype because they came ready. They came ready and they pretty much almost came back. To answer your question, sir, I'm gonna have to go back and check the audio, but I'm pretty sure I said 27-20. If I said 27-10, I'm sorry. The score was 27-20. Auburn did have twice 10, which is 20, or 7 less than 27, which is 20. And if I misspoke, I apologize. I think I said 27-20, but I may have been distracted. But I wanted to drop this little interesting stat on you, man. I was looking at the stats for the game. So I was looking at Colorado's stats. So the strength of their offense, we all know, is the arm of Shedeur Sanders. They're still building their rushing attack. So when they played against TCU, they ran for 55 yards total, whole game. Against Nebraska, they ran for 58 yards. Against Colorado State, they went hog wild and they ran for 70 yards. Oregon completely shut them down and held them to 40, which is their lowest total so far this season. I want you to take a stab at how many rushing yards the Buffaloes had against the mighty Trojans of the University of Southern California this past Saturday. Just take a stab. First number pops
Take
in
a
your
stab.
head.
I mean, I would say by what, about 50, close to 200.
Ooh, you in the neighborhood against the team with the the reigning Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Caleb Williams, who is right now the de facto number one draft pick should he decide to take his draft option this year. The Colorado Buffaloes had 193 yards rushing, which also falls into what I said about that defense, man. Lincoln Riley, offense out the wazoo, man. Offense out the wazoo. The defense is just not there, and that was his saving grace when he was here in Oklahoma. The Big 12 Oklahoma would just go out and just hang a 50 burger on somebody and hope that a Baylor or a TCU or an Iowa or even an Oklahoma State or a Texas could generate the same amount of points. And it worked for him for quite some time, especially with him having Baker and Kyler as Heisman Trophy winners, Jalen as a Heisman Trophy finalist. And, it worked out that way, and people loved him for it. But his defensive skills are absolutely horrible. I just wanted to throw that stat out there because I thought that was very, very interesting. That a team that
and if I can throw something in there, also they seem to realize that you don't need to be stomping on people's logos and talking all the noise and all that video that came out about them talking to trash to the coaches and that kind of stuff like that too. That's not needed. That's not needed. You know what I mean? Go out there and play ball. They said enough on the field instead of saying what they said last week. You know what I mean?
Right.
They said enough on the field about how they are as a team. They don't need to talk that trash. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's just that just like you said, feed into the hype. You know what I mean? So that maybe Dion went in there and told him, kind of reiterated. I know he's probably told him before, but he probably went in there and reiterated that, hey, you don't need to do that. Go out there and show them, show you behind on the field. Don't show you behind, you're getting negative coverage. And that's what people want. I mean, that's unfortunate, but people want that negative stuff to report on. You know what I mean? Have them, give them some positivity to focus on, and report, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. I agree. I really thought that was a very interesting stat because of all the teams that they have played so far, by all the teams that they have played so far, USC has the greatest chance, probably Oregon at number 2, to contend for at a bare minimum a conference championship, and on the high end the national championship if everything shakes out that way. And for the team that is considered to be the most skilled and the most talented, Colorado hung 193 yards on a rushing. And
who was the running backs, or was it Shepard? Sanders too. I mean, like, did he scramble a lot? Did he have a lot of rushing yards, or did the running back? I can't remember his name.
I don't have the stats up in front of me. That was the one stat. It jumped. I saw a news article about it, and they were talking. It was more so referring to Riley and his lack of defensive prowess versus Colorado, and I was like, wow, I got to bring that up.
Absolutely. I mean, you've been talking that. You've been saying that for a minute, and that proved it true. That was proven fact. Letting them come back like that and that being a high score game as it was. So,
I mean, and then that last year that he was here, it was almost downright painful to watch. You could tell he had already tapped out.
It's kind of like a fun and gun watching Florida. Just swing it.
You could tell he had already tapped out. His mind was gone. But let's get back to this game here. University of Georgia 27, Auburn 20. But it wasn't all pretty. It definitely was not all pretty, ladies and gentlemen. Auburn jumped out to a 10-point lead in the first quarter, and it was absolutely insane. Peyton Thorne, their quarterback, that boy had a field day. He'd take the ball, he'd tuck it, and he'd run off tackle to the right, off tackle. Wasn't it the first play from scrimmage? Did he take off and run for his got 50-something yards?
Yeah, 61. 61 yards. That was his longest. So yeah. So
I was still getting my snacks together, man, and I was like, I heard the crowd yelling, and I was like, what is going on? They're playing in Auburn. That's not good to hear the crowd yell that loud. Now look, and I see Thorne streaking down the sidelines.
Yeah,
and he did that at least 2-3 more times.
Yeah, dude had 12 carries, 12 carries for 92 yards, bro. 12 carries for 92 yards.
Right. I haven't played football in a very long time. But one of the things I remember is if the offense, as a defensive player, if the offense lines up in a certain formation and they run a certain play, the next time I see that formation, I'm looking for that play. Now, there may be 2 or 3 different ways that you can run off of that play if it doesn't work out. Like if there's nothing here, you can maybe look back that way and throw something across the field. But if they line up in that same formation, I'm looking for that play, and it took them until the second half to go, maybe we should put a spy on the quarterback. I don't know what you're thinking. I was sitting there watching it, and I was sitting there watching the game with Eddie and Charlie, and I said to myself, I don't know why they don't put a spy on that quarterback. That's a bad. It's bad.
You get him now.
That Tracy Morgan is really bad. I'll get it though. I'll get it. Eddie Murphy gave me them Franks. I wanted some Frankfurters. It was insane. And then they were just moving the ball at will. Hey. And it wasn't just off the edge. It was off tackle. It was off guard. It was up the gut. And
So look at it. So Thorne, put in perspective. I mean, I know you probably looked at the stats. So he had more rushing yards than he had passing yards. He had more rushing attempts than he had passing attempts. So he was literally 10 of 19 for 82 yards, averaging 4.3 yards of 1 pick and no touchdowns. And he ran 12 times for 92 yards, averaging 7.7 yards a carry. So
he
got no sense.
He out there with young Derek. He out there putting up young Derrick Henry numbers.
Yeah, I mean a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? He was a rushing leader. You know, and you know,
and then it doesn't hurt matters much. It doesn't help matters anymore that Georgia's red zone defense has gone completely to pot. Now let's be real about something. There are a few factors here. Dan Lanning is gone. He ain't coming back. He's the head coach at Oregon. He's got a good thing going on over there in Oregon. Okay, he's not coming back. Most of
Monken's gone.
Big Baby's gone. Jalen's gone. Nolan's gone. Keeley is gone. Those guys are gone. The guys that were the on-field captains for the defense, those stalwart guys, they're gone. Okay.
Those signs gone. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's been a lot of turnover in the defense in the last 2 seasons. And these young guys have got to step up. Now, see, Malachi Starks is still out there trying to ball it up. You know, he's still out there balling. He got that interception in the fourth quarter to kind of seal the deal and shut it down. But it is, you know, and Todd Monken is gone. So you lost your offensive and your defensive coordinator back-to-back seasons. And most of the players, the majority of the players from the 2 championship seasons are gone. You still got to go out there and play football. The fundamentals haven't changed. The plays may be different, but the fundamentals have not changed.
Mm.
The Georgia,
Kirby said something. Kirby said something, and I guess like after the game, or I believe it was after the game. But he obviously gave props to Hugh and the environment we played in. Obviously that played a part into it. We can't just dismiss the environment at Auburn is really tough to play in, and the SEC game are always hard. But he even Kirby even said that he doesn't even know how good this team is. He said the one thing that impresses him and he's proud of is the resiliency, and they have a fight, and they camaraderie, and they connect and that kind of stuff. But several times, we can't always be coming from behind. But go ahead.
Composure. I think that was another word that he uses that they did not. We're going to get into the kudos, but we got to talk about these problems here. Got to talk about. I mean, even the secondary, because the secondary, we always before we got that whatever I don't know whatever it was that Dan Lanning put together before Dan Lanning came in and really made that defense what it was. We always had at least one or two guys in the secondary that were just ball hawks. Like they weren't like Sauce Gardners or Deion Sanders or Richard Shermans and things like that. But there was always a playmaker out there that was going to knock a ball down. That was going to make, it's going to knock a ball down, or maybe he would, maybe he'd take a DPI call in a scenario where if I let this guy get by me, it's a touchdown. But if I tie him up, it's 15 yards, and they're playing from their 20, so they only advance to their 35. You know what I mean? I mean, Keely Ringo was a master at that. Although it wound up, he started getting burned in his last season. I said it, Keely. I love you. You will always be a hero for Third and Ringo, but your last season you got burned a little bit.
Yes,
but
he did. He was too.
But even then, there would it's like, and I know Thorne didn't throw for a whole lot of yards, but there was some passes that was out there that. I'm sorry, that DPI call. I want to say in the second quarter, that DPI call, the defender did not even turn around and look for the ball. He just threw his hand. He just threw his hands up. I guess they must have started playing DJ Khaled.
Yeah.
So, and that's a good point. Mobile quarterbacks that can extend the play give us issues at times. Now,
absolutely,
I'm glad to see that some adjustments were made and the defense started turning up the heat. But again, it was in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, Kentucky is looking legit. The run defense, listen, I don't know, the run defense was looking shoddy at best during the first half of this game Saturday. We get ready to play Kentucky. And didn't Ray Davis put up, 200 and, what did I say? He put up 200 and a goo gobs of yards, 260, 280 yards.
Yep.
Yeah, 280 yards on 26 carries. We cannot do against Kentucky what we did against Auburn.
No, I mean, we were lucky enough to keep it tied. I mean, they were up 10-0. We tied it up before the half, and then and it was just, I don't even know if you would say it was like equal play throughout the four quarters. I mean, we won the game because we had more points than they did, but I mean, it was I don't know. I mean, we've got to
pretty much and pretty much for that reason, we just had more points than they did when the clock went to 0 this year.
I mean,
we had to play about 7 more minutes. We might would have been in trouble.
Yeah. But I mean, if
I wanted coach. I had wanted coach to give me the ball. I ate them Frankfurters. I was ready to go out there and play football. I'm gonna have to get off. Sorry, Tracy Morgan is trying to force his way out tonight, and he don't even sound like himself. He must got a touch of laryngitis or something like that. Anyway, I mean, and we're getting ready to face Kentucky next week. Wait a minute, before I get into Kentucky. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the good things that I saw. Kirby Smart mentioned the one thing that we have talked about, or maybe we haven't, but I'm going to talk about it now. Composure. A lot of times you see a team when they start to fall behind, they just completely unravel. They lose their composure. They get frustrated. They start pushing and shoving and starting fights and getting unsportsmanlike, getting the UC calls with the flags and the insane penalties. They held their composure until they could get themselves in a position to make a couple of key stops and hold the offense off long enough, hold Auburn off long enough, and get a good enough stop for the offense to be able to score that last touchdown. And then, of course, Malachi Starks with the key interception at the end. And that is one thing that I can definitely say that they're way, but they look, I'm telling you, like they say on the street, they're better than me. Because I'd have been mad and sweating and shaking, scared that I was going to lose the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of reminiscent of like Stetson. I know he's long since been gone, but I mean, like this game when Carson threw that first pick, you know what I mean? He could have easily done the same thing that Stetson could have done. He could have just sat down, he could have pouted, and just whatever, and let it bother him. But no, he came back, and he ended up 313 yards and had several. I mean, like dime passes. I mean, like and threw some. I mean, he threw some incredible passes through some tight windows to some tight receivers, not just Bowers.
Oh God, yeah, there was one. There was one. There was one he literally put when they showed it in slow mo. There literally was enough space, for the receiver's hands to get the ball because he had a defender here and a defender here. He's definitely looking more comfortable in the pocket. He did get sacked, and that showed us that he's definitely not as mobile as his predecessor. He went to take a step back. And before he could take a step forward, somebody was on his back, like, come here.
Yep. But I mean,
did it like Scorpion. Get over here.
Yeah.
Got me a Marlin.
Got me a Marlin. Got me a baby. Sorry. But we got but I mean we could talk all day about number 19. I mean, like what I mean, all these hypotheticals, right? All these hypotheticals. What would have happened if we did not have that guy? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's a beast, and and we finally figured out that, and even Kirby said it. We got to find more ways to get him the ball because I mean, everybody knows about him and are on him. Which
the thing about it is they know about
players in this game, but they didn't need him. So
they know about him and they still can't stop him. Did you see him do the OBJ a couple times? And That's just insane.
Yeah, he had stick him on the man. He did.
Yeah, it's like, hey, it's almost like Mike Bobo said, "Hey, coach, have we played Bowers yet?"
Right. Exactly.
Hey, but Kirby, I can see Kirby on the sideline just with his visor. Put him in, Mike. What are you doing?
Throw him the damn ball. But I mean, I'm just saying, we need somebody to step up. So God forbid. I mean, I'm not even going to say it. I'm just saying, God forbid. We need somebody else to be, that guy.
The yin to the yang. The yin to the yang. He definitely had that when we had Big O on the squad, and I'm pretty sure
that was a luxury, dude. That was a luxury to have both those guys play them at the same time on the field. I mean, that was insane.
No, I tell you what, will definitely help out when Lad McConkey is at full strength and fully healthy. They did get him out there. He got like 4 receptions for just under 40 yards. Looking pretty good, looking pretty limber, but I know Coach didn't want to stretch him out too hard. I'm wondering if Cash Jones is sweating, thinking that Lad McConkey's gonna come back and take his spot. Yeah, and Edwards, Bijan Edwards in the back, and I started saying the backyard, in the backfield. That guy is a all around overall beast. And there's nothing I cannot say enough complimentary about those guys. Just the way that they held it together long enough to get things moving to where they could score and put the game away. So those are the kudos. Now, having said all of that, next week, as I mentioned earlier, we're taking on an upstart team. And speaking of, you know what? I need to check in on the Kentucky. I haven't heard nor seen from him all season.
It's been a while.
He was all vocal last year. I gotta check with. Well, he doesn't come around until football season, so I'm gonna check in on King Kentucky to see how he's doing. But we are taking on Kentucky. They are making their way to Athens. They're going to be playing this game in Sanford. As you know, Sanford is a tough place to play. Also, but at night, on top of that, God, there's something. If you've never been, well, there's something about a night game anyway. But y'all, I'm just telling you, night games at UGA it's insane. It is absolutely insane. It might not be Jordan Hare. It might not be, it might not be Tiger Stadium in Louisiana. It might not be Bryant-Denny in Tuscaloosa. But I'm gonna tell you, they get crunk in there. They get crunk.
Yeah, and it's been a while. It's been a while since we had like a night game. Because you think about last year and year before that. I don't even know if we had. I don't even think we had one.
I think we had one night game last year, but it was against some. It was against some team that nobody. It was one of our early cupcake games. It wasn't like a classic rivalry in Notre Dame or Alabama or you know what I mean? So, but we take it on Kentucky in a night game in Athens. And as I mentioned, there's a kid in Kentucky that ran for 280 yards. And all they did was let him cook. He is currently averaging 7.8 yards per carry. He's got 8 touchdowns so far on the season. So it's not like he's a world beater, but he is a solid, dependable running back. He is definitely a downhill runner.
Mm-hmm.
And I look for them to do more of the same, to just feed him the ball. Because I don't see much.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the bulk of, especially after seeing what Georgia's run defense had to offer against Auburn. I think that's going to be the bulk of it. I don't see them doing much because Leary is only averaging 57, just under 58% in completions. And he's thrown 10 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So, he's a serviceable quarterback, but he's definitely not. He's definitely not Levis, and I'm pretty sure they're missing Will Levis. But you can only keep him for 5 years or so, shorter than that if they go into the draft. So, what are the things that we need to do to win this weekend? I'm going to go to you first.
Well, you pretty much said that. Our defense has got to step up. Like if they tend to try to do what they did to Florida, and Davis runs the rock, religiously, we're gonna get tired. They're gonna get tired. And then they're gonna start running through us like Swiss cheese, and it's gonna be, we're gonna have to run more blitz packages, and this is what I see. That's what was so good about Dan Lanning is that's how we beat Bama a lot of the times, and these teams that that had a pretty good offense. We were getting through. And of course, we had these big monsters going through there anyway. So,
right.
And they could do that. But we still got some pretty big guys but they've got to find a way to get to the quarterback and make him a little nervous, and get to the running back 1 to 2 seconds after you get the handoff. And they got to crash the middle, because Kentucky likes to run up the middle, and they run up the middle a lot against Florida. But be prepared for counter and that kind of stuff like that. But like you said about quarterback, I said also our secondary. We don't have that kind of guy yet, or we haven't seen. Malachi. He does Malachi things, but we need somebody in the secondary to cause havoc. And haven't quite got there. I'm just hoping this Auburn game is a wake up call, and we just need to put 4 quarters together somehow, some way, because if we fall back to being a 2-quarter team, then it can only spell trouble. It's not going to work out well.
You would think that the South Carolina game was a wake up call. You would think. You see where South Carolina is right now in the conference, not just in the division.
Yeah, but look at the score though. We actually it wasn't that type of game, really.
Yeah, but you let South Carolina come out and say, "Ha, we came to play today," and we were like, "Wait a minute, hold on, I got to finish putting my strings in my cleats." It was like we hadn't. It's like they hadn't finished warming up yet. They just had to run out on the field half dressed because they weren't ready to go out on the field, and it showed. So you would think, after what happened against Beamer Ball in the first half of that game, somebody somewhere in the coaching staff said, "Coach, we got Kentucky coming." Well, at that point, they had no idea that Kentucky was going to be where it was going to be when we got to this point in the season. But hey, we've got a 7-game stretch of SEC games. We are playing 7 straight conference games, no breaks. All the non-conference games are in the front except for Georgia Tech, because that's always the last game of the season. We need to tighten up, or we are going to get bit in the butt.
Yeah.
All the way around.
Yeah. But I don't see, just me looking at the games, I do see a little fire, but I see nothing. Nowhere near what we had. I agree. It's not the same team for 2 years ago or last year. But and the camaraderie is great and the composure is great, but I'm ready to see some fire. That's just me, and I think that was the big thing with us the last 2 years, because you got these guys on defense that absolutely hated it when they got scored on, and you don't see that kind of stuff, with this team. So looking for a leader. I don't even know if there is a leader on the defense now that needs somebody to step up and be that the leader and take charge.
Yeah, like a N'Kobe Dean, like a Jalen Carter, like a, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And it's you're right. You hit it right on the head. Remember when Kentucky scored? Remember 2 seasons ago when Kentucky was the first team to score a touchdown on us at home?
Yeah.
In our stadium.
Remember, that was our first loss. It's supposed to be our first loss.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, this is a little case of deja vu, because remember 2 years ago, Kentucky was unbeaten. We were the only unbeatens in the East, and they came to Athens, and we said, man, I don't know how this is going to go. Chris Rodriguez, Will Levis, this could be some trouble. That defense squashed that real quick. Chris Rodriguez could not get free. Will Levis couldn't get a pass more than 5-6 yards downfield. The defense was everywhere. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yep.
They were just bodies flying around the field. You know what else I haven't seen? That defensive line shift thing they used to do? They haven't done that at all this season.
They did against South Carolina.
What they do to shift to draw people off sides? I didn't see it at all Saturday. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just walking away from the TV and missing it, because I was busy. Look, I was gonna get snacks for the game, and then I went to the store. I was gonna get them from the convenience store around the corner, and I forgot that I didn't know that the Powerball was up to 900 some odd million. So I wound up having to stand in line forever. So I just got to the front of the line and said, just let me get a Powerball ticket. And I left and went to Walmart. The wife was like, where are you? I wound up getting stuff to cook. She's like, I thought you was getting snacks. I'm like, I waited in the store so long, I decided to just buy stuff. I was cooking. That's the long and short is I was watching the game and cooking at the same time.
Well, it's you better than me, because I fell asleep on the couch and I woke up about, I think it was like 4 o'clock. So I missed like the first quarter. And I was like, oh man. And then it started going the way it was going. It was 10 to nothing when I kind of woke up, and then it was 10 to 10, and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna flip back and forth. So I didn't watch the whole game because it was kind of like irritating me a little bit. But then I watched the majority of it, but not all of it. So
I have to address this comment right here from the OG.
Absolutely, I can agree with that.
OG.
Not me and you though.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, I want to win. I love it when we win, but I do not expect to win. I grew up an Atlanta Falcons fan, for crying out loud. So I'm still a Falcons fan. I'm still a Falcons fan. People ask me, you haven't switched teams yet? Oh, by the way, you see Fireman Ed was back at the Jets game last night. Speaking of fans, talking about he was gonna retire. Then he was at the Jets game. Oh wait, they got Aaron Rodgers. Hey Ed, I thought you retired. I went on vacation. I was off my meds. I'm back. Can I have my hat back? Anyway, but Sean knows that. I think Sean knows that. Between me and you, I don't expect anything, because anything, it could be ripped out from the football, can be ripped out from under you at any time. Lucy can rip that football away. Yes, 14 consecutive seasons of Atlanta Braves winning the divisional series and then not being able to win the National League Championship Series. The Falcons in 2 Super Bowls, especially the most recent one that we won't mention.
I knew we were going to get killed by Denver.
Yeah. I mean, it was John Elway.
Yeah.
What were you going to do? Our biggest weapons at that point were what? Andre Rison and Jamal Anderson.
Jamal Anderson. Chris Chandler was a quarterback. Remember?
Right. Because he was a world beater. But you know what I'm saying? I grew up with growing up supporting these teams that just would not win, that just couldn't get there. I mean, God, at one point, the only team that really seemed to be giving any effort was the Hawks. Remember when the Hawks and the Celtics used to duke it out back in the late 80s and the early 90s? That was the only team that really seemed to be trying to make an effort and not just getting there and then just rolling over and playing dead. So, as a Georgia Bulldogs fan, I don't care. We could win 5 consecutive national championships. And year 6, I'm like, I don't know, man. Florida's looking tough. I know Billy Napier is on the 5th year of his contract. I don't know how he's still there, but this might be the year he jumps up and punches us in the mouth. And then when they win, I go, whew, that was close. So, you know.
But it's always the SEC is SEC. I mean, it's not that they're the best conference. It doesn't mean more, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's just SEC team always plays another SEC team tough. And it always happens that way. It doesn't matter who it is. Anything can happen on any given Saturday. You know, it could be a Vanderbilt. It could be whatever. Anything can happen. I mean, look at Ole Miss and LSU. You know, I mean,
I'm pretty sure LSU fans. We got this in the bag. Oh no, that's not the one I'm looking for. That's the one I'm looking for right there. No, not from us. Again, Sean, not from us. I do not.
I look at ASSU. Me, no.
No. Yeah. I mean, now, if you're just speaking in general terms, then yes, 100%.
Most people, sure.
Yeah, most people, sure. The two of us are some of the biggest. You know,
we're cautiously optimistic is what we are.
My thing is, I will believe it when the clock hits triple zeros, and I get to see the coach holding up the trophy, and I'm watching the officials to make sure they're not running out to make no last minute calls after further review. Yeah. When it's all done, and then once they have the parade, then it's done. And you're like, man, the parade is like 2 weeks after. I know. I just want to make sure the NCAA rules committee doesn't come back and say, hey, you know, in the third quarter that was no, I don't want any of that.
Hey.
So, I'm not even being extreme. Come on, Sean.
Hey, case in point, though. Honestly, you can be you can agree with me. Whenever Ringo caught that ball, the only sigh of relief I actually breathed the sigh of relief is when he scored, and I knew that they had no chance of winning. That Alabama had no chance of coming back. You know what I mean? They had no time. Didn't have time enough to score to win the ball game. We put it out of their. You know, then I breathed a sigh of relief.
Yes. Look, the last 10 minutes of the show have just been direct conversation with Sean. Listen, OG, there's a big difference between friendly smack talk between friends and realistically speaking. Have you noticed that me and Colin, our smack talk don't get too far gone, or we don't talk smack unless, like let's say Georgia and North Carolina play this Saturday. We ain't gonna talk too much smack leading up to the game. But if we win and win big, we'll talk smack on the back end. You be like, man, y'all suck. Be like, y'all wasn't saying, hey, look, y'all wasn't saying that Saturday when we were whooping that. You know what? You get what I'm getting at? I know. I'm trying. I know we agree. I know that we're giving these extreme examples, but I'm speaking realistically. I want the Dogs to win. I want the Dogs to win a third national championship. I want a three-peat. I want to see a third parade down the middle of Athens in the big celebration in Sanford Stadium. And I might actually, if they win, I might actually go this time. You know, telling.
But I'll be one of the first ones to admit. Last year I was a little more comfortable, a little more pompous, and a little more, matter of fact. I was pretty sure we were going to win last year. I mean, I did say it. I said we were going to run the table. I mean, even though if I'd have been wrong,
I will never give you a Nathan Snell on record predictions. I might guarantee certain things, like I might guarantee I might guarantee that Tyreek Hill do something silly if he score a touchdown, because that's what he's gonna do. You understand what I'm saying? I might get, look at
who we had though. I felt pretty good about it, because we had a clientele that I could be a little more, a little more matter of fact. This year, no.
Well, it felt good. Last year we were riding the high. Last year we were riding the high after winning the national championship. But even still, what was the game we said we thought we were going to lose last year? Like there's always at least one game. There's been yes. There's been a game every season that we have said the last two seasons we said, I don't know, this one might be the one. I'm hoping we pull it out. But it looked like that, this is what we see. Now, if we play, okay, Sean. Now, see, he had to dig all the way in the crates. Deion Sanders, go sit down somewhere, Mr. Receipts. Okay, yes. If we play, if we play Bug Tussle State, then yes, we expect that we should win. However,
3 touchdowns on
however, there's, I'm sure Auburn expected that they were going to run roughshod over Georgia State a couple of years ago. And it took TJ Finley everything he could muster to get to the finish line for Auburn to win that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, listen, okay, I'm going to give it to you like this. There's a big difference between the player's perspective and the fan's perspective. And I am a realist because I spent too much time investing so much of my feelings into these games and getting mad. Like, dude, I used to play flag. I played flag football. Every post I went to, I played flag football. I was always like a defensive end or something like that. My job was just to rush the quarterback. That was it. Just rush the quarterback. And when I was at Medac at Fort Belvoir, I was with the USA Medac. They used to call us a hit squad because they let us play full contact there, like blocking in the whole 9. I mean, we would knock dudes over, and we would get to the championship every year, run the table, get to the championship, and lose. And I would be sour mad, salty mad for weeks over some flag football. You know what I'm saying? We weren't getting no bonuses. We weren't getting no gold jackets. There wasn't no women waiting for us after the game was over. Talking about, hey, we didn't have nobody up in the skybox sitting with our mamas. We were just playing flag football. And I started realizing I am investing too much of my feelings. raising my blood pressure, taking 3 different medications, fooling up with the Falcons. Yeah. I said, you know what? I'm gonna listen. I'm just gonna say it's gonna be. I'm do like they say in church on Sunday. If it be in His will.
If it be in His will.
If it be in His will. I think Anna Nicole Smith said that too. Oops, I said that out loud. Anyway, hey-o. I just stopped. I stopped. Yeah. I know. Look, OG. I know. I feel you. But all I'm saying is, I can speak for me, and I'm pretty sure I can speak for Colin. I just got to a point where I was like, you know what? If we win, we win. If we don't, we don't. And I just can't sit around. I can't sit around and be mad about it because it's still my team, and I love them. I'm gonna be right back rooting for them the same week. The next week,
we got the luxury. We got, dude. I mean, like if you're anything like me, I didn't think I would ever see. Look pretty vague or pretty like what we weren't gonna get another World Series from the Braves or another national championship from the Dogs. You know, I've seen both. I've seen the one in 90, was it 94, 95, or was it, I can't remember.
95 and the year before last year.
And when last year.
Year before last.
But then we got fortunate enough to get 2 national championships from the Dogs, and we had actually national championship and a World Series in the same year, which is awesome. I can die a happy man. Now the Falcons, if I don't know, I'll probably hear 28-3 till probably till I die, probably in the eulogy. But and then but we do.
I mean, maybe if this really pale family from Forks, Washington, moves into Oklahoma, and I accidentally mess around and get bit by one of them, and I live another 200 years, and maybe I'll see the Falcons win the Super Bowl. But
what I'm saying is, where I'm going with is like, if we don't win that, if we get a 23-peat, hey, awesome. If we get a 3-peat, that's great. If we don't, and I won't be mad. I mean, because I got it too. Yeah. I was lucky enough to get 2 in a row. Who cares? Yeah,
we're fortunate enough to be there to witness back-to-back national championships led by a kid that nobody wanted to be their quarterback.
Oh, that was great.
And you know what I'm saying? And one of the most phenomenal defenses in the history of the program. And, and to watch our coach lose his mind on the sidelines every week. And I don't know why I have you just in the spotlight here when I'm the one talking. But
Well,
to
hey,
watch our
I'm just happy somebody let us in the prom and we got to dance and we got to lead for a change, and then we got to win the crown. You know what I'm saying? We always got shut out the door. Nobody wanted to dance with us, so we got let in.
Well, at least we didn't have to. At least we didn't have to. At least we didn't have to do like Carrie did at her prom with the, they got her with the bucket of blood and everything like that.
Yeah.
But so yeah, you know what? I think we can wrap this up in the bow and say I think that we gotten off the beaten path. I think that what Georgia needs to do is they need to tighten up. They need to tighten up their booty holes and do what Deion and the boys did at Colorado and focus on the task at hand that is in front of them this coming week. Instead of
it won't hurt for them to get a little more animated. I mean, I think that would do a lot. I mean, if somebody gets in there, lights a fire on them, and just get some moving, get some jumping, and getting some excitement going on. I mean, I think that's going to do a world for them. But composure is one thing, and I am proud of how Carson, his composure and keeping himself kind of grounded and not making too many bad decisions. Not really any. I mean, like you said, one pick or a couple picks, I guess. But in the grand scheme of things, he's been doing well. Great.
Yeah, honestly. So having said that, we'll wrap that up in a bow. I don't even want to. You know what? What's your
score? We just did a 2-minute warning.
What's your score prediction for this week?
Oh Lord, have mercy. What's the line on this? Do you know? I don't even know.
The 50-yard line. I don't know. I haven't checked the line yet.
It's probably 6 or 7, I would think. I would say, you know what? I think it's gonna get a little high. What was it? No, I would say 24-10.
24-10. 24-10 Georgia.
Yep. 24-10 Georgia.
OG, I need your score, please. I'm gonna give it a little more juice. I'm gonna say it's gonna be 31-12. Oh, okay. You already gave me your score, 31-12. And Sean says 24-21.
I'm looking at one of the comments, Sean.
Right.
If you're that good
here,
like y'all have been, then expect it.
We're
not this year. We're not as good as we have been last 2 years.
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching the replay right now, thank you so much for tuning in. If you would please, if you want to participate, make your way on over to the This Week in the SEC group on Facebook and enter your score prediction for the Georgia-Kentucky game this coming weekend. And the person that gets closest to score prediction will win themselves one of these, except it will be an all-black snapback with the Zagnif Apparel logo and the Establisher 2021 on there. Zagnif Apparel, dress like you're already famous. Is Kentucky better on offense than I can't read what's on the phone? I'm trying to read it off the comments on my phone. I guess I could just go to the comments here in the comment section. Is Kentucky better on offense than Auburn or South Carolina? Yeah. Kentucky definitely has a better run game. South Carolina, I think their entire offense hinges around what Spencer Rattler is able to accomplish. And he just does not seem to have enough weapons around him this year. Auburn, like you said, the 2 QB system with the running quarterbacks, and Thorne had the bulk of the yardage on the ground. So I would have to say I have not seen enough of Kentucky's offense, but I would definitely say that Kentucky seems to have the better total package put together, just because Auburn's offensive line was sometimes it was stout as all get out, couldn't get in the backfield. But then 3 plays later, Thorne sacked. I would say so far, just based off of record alone, because the statistics are not the statistics even aren't really jumping out at me. I mean, Leary's got just over 1,100 passing yards, and Davis has run for I think about 560, 570, 580, something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not guessing. I saw the stat. I just can't remember what it
the
is off
majority
the top
was
of my
last
head.
weekend. So,
But so the statistics for Kentucky are not jumping out at me, but they are of the three teams, they're the only one that's undefeated. So that definitely has to count for something. Now, let's be real about something for a minute. People talk about the cupcake schedules and Georgia having a cupcake schedule. Let's just take a look at Kentucky's schedule, shall we? Kentucky started out the season playing Ball State, who we played. Then they played and they beat them 44-14. Then they played Eastern Kentucky 28-17. Then they played Akron 35. And for record, Akron is in the same conference with Bowling Green State University, who beat Georgia Tech this past weekend. Akron 35-3. They beat Vanderbilt 45-28. And then they beat Florida 33-14. So they've had 5 games. And of those 5 games, 2 were conference games. Vanderbilt struggling a little bit. Good team struggling a little bit. Florida, I can't help it. I'm going to say it. Sunbelt Billy. I mean, Florida could be way better than they are, though. I don't know whether to put that on I don't really want to put it on the players per se. And don't really want to put it all the onus on the coaches. But somebody's got to teach these guys how to do what they do. And it's apparent it's not sticking. They had the one good week against Tennessee. So they had 3 games against 3 teams that they should have been able to beat with their hands tied behind their back. 1 game against Vanderbilt, who probably would have given them a lot more what for if they were at full strength, and Florida. So they're 5-0 against a not necessarily uber formidable set of opponents so so
it's kind
this
of
will be,
if you want to,
absolutely,
kind of like equal, kind
this
of
will be
played the 5 team. So,
this will be for both of us. I think this will wind up being the most formidable opponent either of us has faced all
I would
season.
think so. Yeah,
So
I would agree with it.
we'll see what both teams are really made of on this coming Saturday. Did I make my prediction? Yeah, I did. I said 31-12. So that's what we got there. Really quick, we're going to move into we're not really doing this segment, but I just wanted to do it for grins and giggles. Brock Bowers. That is all. Okay, we're gonna take a quick. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with a 2-minute warning. This music sounds suspiciously like the same jingle music we used before. If it does, it's because it is. Get your gear at Active Apparel today. And we are back. All righty then. Moving on to our next segment, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls. We do thank you for tuning in this week. We appreciate each and every one of you that took your time to stop by and see us. But we're moving into our final segment. And those of you that have ever seen a football game, it's come down to it. We're almost finished. And the whistle blows. Why? Because it is the 2-minute warning. Oh man, it's been a crazy week for it was just a crazy week last week, man. I really don't. You know,
I,
there's so many things that have happened this past week. There's so many things that I can speak on. Listen, take some time and cook. Did I say that? Was that one of mine before? Take some time and cook every now and again.
yeah.
I like most of America, am a huge fan of food delivery services. I remember as a child growing up, there were only a few places that delivered. There was Chinese. If you could get a Chinese place that was close to you, there was and then there was pizza. There was like Domino's, and then Pizza Hut got in on it, and then all the pizza places started doing it. And now we have DoorDash and Uber Eats, which will deliver just about anything. And as a testament, I actually the other night did a double dash where I got 2 Crunchies Tacos Supreme from Taco Bell and had them double dash over to 7-Eleven just so I could get my Ben & Jerry's chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. I specifically did the DoorDash from Taco Bell so I wouldn't look like a total sweet tooth nut getting Ben & Jerry's cookie dough ice cream at 11 o'clock at night. And I paid for it.
Yes, you did.
The tacos and ice cream are not a good combination to put in your stomach at 11 o'clock.
You paid for your wallet and where your wallet normally goes.
Oh man, my wallet wasn't nothing on the complaints I was getting from the left side of the bed. That's what I'm saying. Oh Jesus!
Oh my goodness!
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, man. But I gotta say, like, where was that during the college days, man? When you could get the old DoorDash, go get you some beer from the 7-Eleven gas station. You had a house party.
God.
Man, they would have made some money back in the day.
I spent a ton of my dad's money on Domino's Pizza, and there was a sandwich shop that was right down the street from the O House. I lived in. You ever been on campus? You familiar with the Oglethorpe House? One of the dormitories on campus. It was right, literally down the street from the athletic dormitory.
Right.
Like literally down. If you were out in the quad, and it had its own quad. It was that big. It had its own quad, and we used that for softball and intramural sports. And if you looked down, if you went out towards the street and looked down to the right, the athletic dormitories are down there. I think Butts-Mare and all of that was down there where the athletes lived. But man, there was this place that was down the street from there, and I would just write a check. I did not feel like going to the dining facility. I would just write a check.
Oh, do you remember when you had to have a check cashing card at 7-Eleven? Or no, not 7-Eleven. Fast food. Remember, you had to have a check cashing card. That was a long time ago.
I don't remember that. We didn't have flash foods in Savannah. We had Starving Marvin.
Starving Marvin, yeah, we had that down.
Man, y'all had lived if y'all don't know nothing about that Starving Marvin, boy, huh?
It was like a Dollar General. It was a fast food across the street from another fast food. And you had one down about 3 more blocks. You had another fast food.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was insane. Starving Marvin was the convenience store of choice around Savannah, and then there was also a family called Chew, and Chew bought up just about every 7-Eleven, every rundown 7-Eleven in the city, from the south side all the way out to Thunderbolt, out going down Victory Drive out towards Tybee Island. There was a Chews on every corner. In the last 5-10 years, Parker's has bought them all out, but Mr. Chew had some money. He was making some good money because them convenience stores they were all gas stations.
Yeah.
So yeah, I said all of that to say, yeah, take a little time and cook every now and again. It's healthier for you. Yeah, it takes a little more time, but you burn more energy because you order DoorDash. You just sit on your butt waiting for it to show up. If you're cooking, you move it around, you stirring pots, you're doing stuff, you're washing the dirty dishes, that kind of thing. And it tastes, to me, it tastes better just because I cooked it.
I can agree.
I took the time to cook it. Now, these pancakes over here, I'm going to jack these up. Those taste better than any pancakes I've ever made. I don't know what it is IHOP uses in their batter. Their pancakes are always perfect. Sometimes my pancakes are perfect. Sometimes they're thin like crepes. Sometimes they're really thick. It's like trying to eat through a copy of War and Peace. And I have to douse it with like a whole stick of butter, which is My arteries are just like, thanks. So, but yeah, take some time every now and again and cook you a little something. We were all about it, we were about the cooking during COVID. Everybody learned how to make banana bread except me. I don't eat banana bread, but somewhere gonna be like, oh, blasphemy! You don't eat banana bread? Never had it.
Never, not missing much.
It's not it, and let me make sure I make the disclaimer. This is not like where Nate does not eat wings. I haven't really had banana bread, and that's the end of that. So, what you got for me, bro?
I don't have much, man. I'm happy football is still here and everything, and I'm sad to see. I mean, I can't even believe it's October already. My birthday's come and gone, but did want to announce my boy, the B-Man, will be 13 on October 13th. So I can't believe that's happened. Just seemed like yesterday he was born. So getting ready for that. For his birthday coming up. Not so sure what we're gonna do yet, but yeah, it's just, man, time's been flying. So make it take advantage of all the things you can do or want to do. Go do them. I'm preaching to myself right now. So there's a lot of things I haven't done that I probably should have done and need to do, and activity wise and other things. But time's flying. Time keeps on slipping. Right. So that's all I got there. So happy birthday or early birthday to my boy. We're definitely gonna celebrate next week, next Monday.
Well, I'm sending this shout. I'm gonna go ahead and send this shout out. Hey, B-Man, I remember when you were born, when you was a little bitty baby in your mom and daddy's arms, and now you about to be a teenager. And if y'all have never met, and I don't think I've ever met B in person.
I don't think you have either. I think you left before he actually started getting, feeling himself a little bit. So yeah,
his personality started coming out.
Next time you need to come by my house.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure. I pretty much was kind of tied to not false church. I was tied to Tyson's Corner.
I get it. You're breathing in, breathing out. I understand. The next time,
yeah. So most definitely. So a big happy birthday shout outs to the B-Man. Appreciate it. And I don't think we ever gave you your props, man. A happy belated birthday to my co-host, Colin P from the DMV right there, man. Hey, man, you ain't gonna never catch me because I got a head start on you, but you're getting close to that magic number.
Hey, one year at a time, brother. 1 year at a time. Yeah, I'm getting to that.
I like how you said that. Like, don't be putting no extra years on me, bro. I'm good. I'm cool. I'm good where I'm at. I'm at.
Big 4-7, yeah, I'm creeping on that half century, yes, sir. I can't believe that. I can't, like I said before, you walk by that mirror, you're just like, huh? But
it don't bother me so bad no more. It's just sometimes
it doesn't bother me. It just throws me for a loop. I'm like, there ain't no way that I'm this old, but I am.
Dude, every now and again, I go, it'd be nice for my hair to just be naturally black again, because when I was a younger man, it wouldn't grow, and now that it grows out, don't get me wrong, I like the whole silver fox look, but
hey,
I'm having to learn about beard maintenance and things like that.
Oh, it took me for COVID to do this. Like, I was working from home every day, and I was like, you know what, the hell with it, just go and let it grow. And I just did, and I was like, hey, I kind of like this. I mean, not the in between. The in between stage is kind of like the itchy.
Oh, God,
I could do away with that.
Sitting around at work, I'm itching right now. And I haven't done anything else other than just keep this trimmed at the bottom and keep it lined up.
Bro, I had to get a tutorial. Like, all right, so how far do you go to the chin? And like, I didn't know how to do all that. I had a goatee, and I worked all that out.
Right to the jawline. Right to the jawline.
That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah. So anyway, look. We have gone from football to cooking recipes to grooming tips. Grooming tips, and I think that's about the point where we call it a night. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all so much for joining us today for this episode of This Week in UGA Football. Many thanks to everybody that stopped by and commented. Mr. Nathan Snell, Mr. Sean Spencer, even Miss Rita Blessard, who I haven't seen in it's been about 10 years. She used to be one of my regulars at my Fairfax karaoke shows. So every now and again, she pops up and drops a comment on a video and then fades back into the distance. So we appreciate you all. for stopping by to check us out. We will be back next Monday. Hopefully, I will be off work a lot earlier because normally we are done by now. Now, my little black behind is in the bed.
Yeah, too. It's been out of here.
But and then I'll be dropping little nuggets during the course of the week, and especially on Saturday as the games are taking place. And Colin, by the way, if you watching the game or something, feel free to record a little, 2 to 4 minutes something and send it to me, and I'll throw it up on the thing, man. Most definitely, because I see things and then I put them up, and then I had to go back and retract statements. By the way, I did put a video out asking the question: is this the end of the Clemson era? And at that point, Clemson was struggling with Syracuse, and I won't say who, but somebody's been commenting a lot on the show tonight. And it was like, "Hey, man, didn't Clemson win that game?" And I was like, "Yeah, I didn't get a chance to go back and put nothing up because I had gone to bed."
Hey,
Love you, Sean. Sean, I'm just giving you a hard time, man. No, Sean's that's one of the things that makes Sean very, very good at what he does as far as podcasting, because he's got an eye. He's got an eye for detail, and between him and Alex Loosemore, which is the host of Restore the Roar, Detroit Lions fan, those two have memories like steel traps. Do not challenge either one of them to a game of football stats, football trivia having anything to do with stats or anything like that. They will wipe the floor with you. Anyway, that's all I got. That's all Colin's got on behalf of my guy, the Colin P from the DMV. I have been Mr. Fingers, coming to you live all the way from the 405 in the heart of Oklahoma City, where the wind comes whipping down the plane. Mr. Fingers, Colin P from the DMV. We will catch y'all next Monday. Until then, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
All right, so Pete, we appreciate you tuning in and watching these videos. Me and Colin will be back every Monday, every Thursday, right on this very channel. Like what you see, hit the like button. Want to get the notifications, hit the subscribe button. Want your peoples to know, hit that share button and send it all across the internet. We appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. We'll be back next time. We'll see you then. Go Dogs.